So I was just sent this article by SA, and shout out to them. And I haven't heard from them in a while, but they usually do send me some very decent articles whenever they do send me some. But it has been a long time since they've sent me one. But I am glad they sent me this one. Now, if y'all don't know who this is in the picture, I talked about them about a month ago, maybe a little over a month ago, probably about a month ago. I can't remember exactly when it was. But this is Daryl Daniels. He's the Clay County Sheriff. If y'all don't remember, he was the person I talked about who made that comment saying he was going to deputize the residents of that county to quote unquote take care of any rioters or looters, basically in response to the whole George Floyd situation. Meanwhile, from what I've heard, that town or that county is damn near lily white, and that there was no rioting or looting going on. So he was just talking out of all sides of his neck and between the crack of his ass when he made those comments. But then it was something that had came up in my commentary about him, where it was saying that he had some kind of extramarital affair where he was cheating on his wife with this mistress. And something happened, one thing led to another, and that he ended up arresting the mistress. This is what I had heard from people in the comment section, not just in that video, but I heard it in other places as well. And that's like, okay, then it's probably true. And it turns out that it indeed was true. Well, now let's fast forward to this article that was sent to me that's dated August the 12th, where it says, Clay County Sheriff Daryl Daniels turns himself in and faces 4 charges. My uncle, like I've told y'all in my other videos, my late uncle always told me don't trust a black man with no facial hair. And he's yet to be wrong. After Clay County Sheriff Daryl Daniels was given an ultimatum by a special prosecutor to either resign or be arrested, the embattled sheriff turned himself into authorities Thursday. Records show Daniels, age 55, now faces 4 charges, including tampering with evidence, a felony, 2 felony counts of knowingly giving false information to law enforcement, and a misdemeanor charge of knowingly giving false information to law enforcement. Now, this guy said that he was going to deputize all these people to go after rioters and looters and everything like that. We know he was talking to black people. Let's just actually be real here. And that fell on deaf ears because people came at his neck, and he ended up going back on his statements and trying to say, oh, that's not what he meant, and a whole bunch of bullshit. Meanwhile, he had all of this going on. I'm telling you, if you dig hard enough, you will find some stuff in this. So somebody there doesn't like him. And it's probably stemming off of those comments he made in the video in which I spoke about last month. Daniel's attorney, Matt Kachergis, said his client does not plan on resigning his position and still plans to seek re-election. Daniels has been under scrutiny from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement for more than a year after he was accused of ordering one of his deputies to illegally arrest his former mistress for stalking in 2019. She began a relationship with Daniels when she worked for him when they were both at the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, and the affair continued after he was elected sheriff. On Thursday night, he recorded a public statement. I was the subject of an investigation, and that took nearly a year and a half. And over the course of time, I've continued to fight for the sheriff's office and the folks who live in this community, Daniel says in a statement. He continues, but one thing that's very suspicious to me is the fact that within days of primary election, the powers that be, specifically the state's attorney office, has decided that today is the day that they will execute their plan and interfere with what's going on with the sheriff, with me. Today is the day that they chose to essentially charge me with things that are such. That is baffling to me because it takes a stretching of the imagination to understand personally knowing that I am innocent. Last month, Daniels drew a criticism. Now, this is going to the point that I made at the beginning of the video. Daniels drew criticism and praise after he posted a warning to outside groups who may be thinking of bringing violent protests to Clay County. Daniels is currently up for re-election in Clay County. He has 5 opponents in the election, which is set for August 18th. Governor Ron DeSantis recently appointed a Central Florida state attorney as a special prosecutor, Brad King, to take over the investigation of Daniels. After State Attorney Melissa Nelson received summary report of the FDLE investigation in July, she recused herself from the case because prosecutors in her office could be called as witnesses. In June 2019, an anonymous letter calling for Daniels' ouster was sent to Governor DeSantis, Attorney General Ashley Moody, FDLE, and various news organizations. The letter appears to have been written by one of Daniels' employees, though the identity of the sender is unclear. Among other things, the letter referenced statements Daniels made while briefing deputies on June 14th and alleges that Daniels threatened whoever was leaking information about him on social media. It was received about 1 month after news of an extramarital affair between Daniels and a former subordinate when he was a supervisor at the Duval County Jail, where both worked at the time, became public knowledge. That subordinate, Sierra Smith, told News4Jax her relationship began in 2013 when she was a 21-year-old corrections officer working for the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, and Daniels, at the time 48, oversaw the jail. In May 2019, Daniels filed a report accusing Smith of having a gun in her car and following him in a manner that caused him great concern. His deputies resisted an order from Daniels to arrest Smith, citing a lack of probable cause, according to court documents. Latoya Shelton Williams, an attorney representing Smith, spoke with News4Jax on Thursday evening. I do not have all the information on FDLE's findings right now, but we are definitely watching closely, and if anything about her wrongful arrest was founded upon, then we will move forward civilly. We were awaiting findings for the FDLE, Williams said. It's a little surprising that it took them so long, but they were committed to doing a thorough investigation, and I think that's what's important. Smith says she does not want to comment right now. Well, isn't that an interesting turn of events? His past literally came back to bite him in the ass, and I have a feeling the reason why he wanted to do the whole deputizing of people to go after outside, quote unquote, in his words, outside rioters and looters, was so he could try to give himself a cover for what this was, as if they were not going to try and dig up anything on him. And now he wants to put himself in the innocent party position, even though he has done shady things. I mean, look at what he did to try to cover up the fact that he had a whole mistress. Like, he made up this whole thing that she was stalking him when that wasn't even the case. Had one of his deputies to go and illegally arrest her so he could try to get out of it, and it didn't work. And now it's all coming back to pile up on him. But he's a stubborn one, because he said he's up for re-election on the 18th, and he says he's not going to resign. He refuses to, be fired and all types of stuff like that. And the 18th is right around the corner, because it is currently August the 13th. So the 18th is what, next Tuesday? This upcoming Tuesday, if my days are correct. So this is going to be very interesting. And now I'm gonna have to keep my eye on this one, because if he loses this election, I'm gonna come back on here and gloat some more.